So I just sat down to watch the third episode of Mandalorian Season 3, and I suddenly realized, God damn it, I completely forgot to do a review for episode 2, and now my OCD is not going to allow me to watch that episode and do a review. I've got to go back and make a review for episode 2, because I missed it. Because, I don't know, I'm just busy, I'm tired, movies keep coming out on a Wednesday, that's the advanced screening here in Australia, and so I go to see that movie, and then Mandalore's already out, and I'm like, well, I've missed that timely thing. I'll try a bold strategy and release a video 10, 12 days late, and let's see how this goes. Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, The Mines of Mandalore. Now, this episode I felt was a huge improvement on the first episode, which I found a little bit hit and miss and a kind of an odd start to the season. And it kind of left me feeling a little flat and disappointed, because I love The Mandalorian, I love Mando and Baby Grogu slash Baby Yoda is probably my favorite Star Wars character. He's just so funny, he's so cute, he's so adorable, and I love how kind of, I don't know, capable this episode made him. Like, I really like that he was able to force navigate or whatever, or just he remembered the way to that moon that Din Djarin pointed to. I love that he was kind of helping do the little mission and kind of, you know, being the one who was saving the Mando rather than Mando usually kind of being the one protecting him. Thought that was a nice little flip and switch, but just... It's like almost not fair to other characters in things, because Baby Yoda doesn't really have to do too much for me to just be like, well, that's the best thing I've ever seen, because this episode really just involves him jumping into a little pod, zooming in a direction, dodging a crocodile dragon, and then just doing a little flip into a ship and clicking a button. And I reckon that's the most fun I've had watching something in so long. It was just joyous and wonderful. I was grinning from ear to ear, laughing out loud. Just even if he does his little waddle in like a wide shot, and you just see him being like, it's just so cute. He's so funny, and just, that design, they have just nailed that design. And I don't know, it's like one of those things where you'd think at some point, him just doing almost nothing, like literally waddling around on a little walk, it's enough for me. I'm like, he's so good, look at him go! And then that bit of him just in the pod, just going do, like flying through, dodging the bloody crocodile lizards and all this stuff, just awesome. I had so much fun with it. It was just, it's just... literally he does almost nothing, and I'm like, that's the best thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. I found this episode to be overwhelmingly entertaining. This is everything I love about The Mandalore. It just looks gorgeous. It's so quick and pulpy and tight. Like, there's no B stories, and I kind of love that. Like, this doesn't need to be a nuanced and/or situation. Like, I just want to see him land on a planet, go walking through this incredibly designed Mandalorian ruins, and then suddenly there's mutant trolls, and they've got spikes on their backs, and they've got big trolley looking things, but then they've got flowing hair like they're in an 80s rock band. Like, the designs are so crazy. I just love how just like action-packed and tight it is. It's just like Mando gets to the planet, he fights some trolls, he kills them all with that dark saber, and then he meets a big robot monster that's got a little fleshy eyeball, and then he gets out and he's all grievousy and spiny. He's like a skeleton spider thingy or something, and it's just like, it just looks so good. The design for our Grievous cyborg-like character was so cool. I love how you see him in this big robot machine kind of legged thingy, and then when he climbs out, he's all small and scaly, and then when that guy dies, it's just the eyeball. It's just a little brain eyeball thing and this little thing, and he runs off, and I just found it all so exciting and interesting. I love the idea in this world that you can be chopped down into being like an eyeball connected to a brain, or maybe the eyeball for this kind of monster or creature or whatever it is in the brain or whatever, but there's just that left of him. But he's got just enough of him left where he can just connect all these robot bits to him to kind of keep living his little parasitic life in these disgusting, dirty, like, sewers of Mandalore, this city that is just mutant monster creatures and anything that has survived this big Holocaust-esque kind of just global apocalypse event that happened when the Empire destroyed and completely ruined Mandalore. I don't know, I really like the idea of all these little parasitic cockroach creatures all surviving. I like the idea that these troll monsters that look the way they do probably were still pretty gross and awful, but they've kind of twisted and morphed. Like, there's so many different kind of designs and things on them. Like, there were so many kind of bits and pieces of what felt like different creatures. Like, they have spines, they have horns. They felt like three creatures kind of mushed together, and I found that really, really interesting and cool. Just overwhelmed by the creature design in this episode, even just seeing the little crocodiles in the sewers. But because it's Star Wars, the crocodiles in the sewers have wings! They're pretty much dragons, little baby dragons. Also, when that baby dragon tries to like eat baby Grogu, part of me really wanted him to like kill the baby dragon and then like eat it. I know it's very big, but he could have like chopped it up, roasted it. I just don't want baby Grogu to go hungry. I just feel like he's got a big appetite, and those crocodile dragons, they will probably be pretty delicious. Or radioactive, their eyes glowed green, so maybe they're radioactive, and maybe they would kill him. So maybe he shouldn't eat them. The first thing that really blew me away and excited me about this episode was the fact that not only just that we got to Mandalore like 3 or 4 episodes earlier than I thought we would get to Mandalore. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, episode 2, already at Mandalore. It's like, boom, okay, cut the fat. Like, just get straight to it. Really, really exciting. But also the visual design of this destroyed planet, this wrecked planet, like the glass jagged looking kind of green vibe and aesthetic, like just so cool. Like, I love this glass looking jagged landscape. It was so interesting and different. I feel like it's maybe my favorite planet we've seen on this show. I don't know, I'm so sick of desert planets. Like, I love a desert planet, just like the Star Wars executives that are just like, just another desert planet, please. Not Tatooine, Jakku. Just make sure there's sand in our movie. And I still love all those things, but I feel like we're getting to a point where I'm like, just please show me something new. And the idea of seeing this destroyed, post-apocalyptic wasteland that's all like underground, under these jagged, spiky rocks. I adore the choice to make everything have a green Matrix tinge. Like, it just had this really interesting atmospheric feel and mood. Like, I don't know, it just felt so kind of singular and unique, and it just kind of really threw me into this place. And then when we get so far down into the Grievous, like, eyeball character, it suddenly was really red, and it's like how we've gone so far down the planet's general post-apocalyptic Matrix green vibe and color tone. It's just gone. It's gone, and now we are proper in the basement of this hellish planet. I don't know, just the visuals overwhelm me. I was so excited, even though the plot is just like Baby Yoda and bloody Din Djarin go down through, then he goes right back up, and then him and Bo-Katan just go right back through and repeat a bunch of shots. It was just, if you're gonna just do shots and have characters go bop, 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 and it looks this good, I'm happy. I'm happy for the story to be paper thin. I don't think this series really needs to have things that are overwhelmingly nuanced and complicated with dialogue scenes that are super captivating and everything. You can just have a beautiful, incredible, horrible, destroyed city, and then have Bo-Katan be like, this makes me sad. This whole place, it makes me sad. I used to be a princess and it was pretty dope. And like, that's all I need. The performances can kind of take you further than I feel like they can do with the script. Like, I actually almost like that the script is kind of like not trying to be too complicated. And I do wonder if Andor has like kind of, you know, a part to play in that, where it's like, because I've got that kind of complicated, nuanced politics and really deep diving into characters in really complicated and interesting ways. But Andor's doing all of that. And it still does a bit of spectacle, but I want to see this other side of Star Wars that is kind of almost spectacle over story, but then it never really does lose sight of the characters. Like, Din Djarin as this protective surrogate father to little Baby Yoda is awesome. They're my favorite duo in Star Wars. And that's not because it's all just shooting monsters all day, all the time. Like, they have a true connection. And I love that. Like, I don't know, they're able to speak and do so much without words. And I think maybe because one of them is a baby that doesn't speak, and Din Djarin, we don't see his face. So, like, less is more sometimes with the dialogue, which I find really interesting. Like, somehow he's just standing there looking at the talking waters, the living waters at the end, and he's there, and just like with Bo-Katan being like, Din, bro, you all cool? And he doesn't respond or say anything. He just starts taking his clothes off and slowly walking to the water, reciting the creed. And it's just exceptional. It's like, I don't understand how they keep being able to do so much with so little movement. And it's like, it's It's wondrous. I love it. I love it so much. So in this episode, we get double Darksaber action, and I kind of really love, even though I feel like maybe, I could be misremembering, but I feel like Din Djarin had a bit more control over the Darksaber last time in Book of Boba Fett. But I actually really like where he pulls it out and he's like weighed down by it, and he's just kind of swinging about, but like, get the hell away from me. And he's not like super professional with it, and he's not super skilled with it, because it is such an OP weapon. Like, he just takes them out all so easily, and he's got his kind of immortal, well, plot armor and immortal armor on. So I actually really enjoy that he's got this big giant lightsaber, darksaber thingy, and he can't really control it and use it properly. So he's not super OP where, like, once he whips it out in a battle, I'm like, well, I'm not interested anymore. Yes, it looks cool visually, but he'll just kill them all just like that. I kind of like that he's still training, so by using it, it's such an OP weapon, but he's so clumsy and unskilled with it that almost puts him as a disadvantage. So it keeps those battles interesting. And I also love that when Bo-Katan gets it, she's just a little bit more proficient, but I feel like she's just such a warrior that she like knows what she wants to do with the blade and with it. And I love that she's got a little CGI thingy shield, the energy shield, I guess it would be. I don't know. I love that design. Like when she's first using it, I'm like, oh man, she's got a shield. Like, is she going to use the Darksaber and have like an old school medieval knight sword and shield? And she does! I am a simple man. Sometimes all I want is a very sexy, powerful, awesome character to just have a sword and a shield and just stab the ever-loving hell out of a giant robot controlled by a little eyeball / brain monster. It's just... it's so insane. I love this episode so much. And so the episode ends where Din Djarin does a whole thing, Creed speech thing, and then he falls into the water, and on the first watch, I swear he got grabbed and dragged down, but then I heard that there was controversy. I say controversy, that's not the right word. There was a heated discussion, and it would usually be a normal discussion, but it's Star Wars fans, and we are all insane and too passionate. Not too passionate. But people were saying he just fell, because like the steps stopped, and it fell into the chasm. And I'm like slightly more inclined to believe that, but I also just like the idea that he's like so inept sometimes when he's like focused on a thing, and he just slipped and fell and just fell down the water, and then he like hits the bottom of the ocean, and instead of being like, well, I better get up, he was just kind of lying there being like, oh, it's so nice to just have some me time. That felt like true dad energy, just being like, oh, the kid's up there, I do love him, I love him, but just like 5 seconds for myself as I lie at the bottom of this giant abyss of water. But of course, it does not actually matter if he fell or was dragged down by a little sea creature beast or whatever. The real reason Din Djarin is clumsy is just like the reason he is captured by the big robot eyeball monster thingy is because it's a plot thing. Like, Din Djarin will be competent and awesome when it needs to be, and he'll be clumsy and silly and, you know, just an idiot walking around in OP armor and a lightsaber when he needs to be. And for this episode, he needed to be clumsy to bring Bo-Katan into the fold and have her rescue him and realize he's actually kind of awesome. Like all the shots where he's like walking into the water, she's like, actually, I respect this guy now. We're having a bonding moment. Isn't this nice and cool? And it was nice and cool. But she has to get into the water to rescue him so she can see the mythosaur. So, I don't know, he falls and it doesn't matter why. It's just so she can be on the water. And as she's going up and the music swells and we see this weird creature, then the big eyeballs like... And we see the mythosaur and it looks so very good. I do kind of wish that the mythosaur had risen out of the water dripping off, and it just kind of stared them down and the episode ended. But I guess this is pretty cool, and it does hype me for later scenes where we see the mythosaur. I really do hope that we see it again. I want to see Din Djarin on top of it, you know, fighting like an Empire squadron, and he's on this giant monster, and he's just like, ha ha ha! That'd be cool. That'd be really, really cool. But I do think maybe it's just there to be like, hey, the mythosaur does exist. And then Bo-Katan's going to be like, Mandalorian's still super dope, bro. And it's just going to kind of, you know, give her the fire she needed to kind of, you know, continue on and not kind of slump on that throne or whatever she's doing. Just having a big sook on that throne. So maybe it was just that push she needed. But I would very much like to see the big mythosaur just, I don't know, just kill a lot of stormtroopers, really. That's what I want to see.